Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Guess the WN8, where my viewers submit me games and I have to guess their stats based on absolutely nothing except the travesty that is their gameplay. If I get within 250 of their WN8 or 2% of their wins, then I win. If I don't, then I give them 500 gold for besting me with their skills. Alright, let me sort out volume. Okay, welcome to Challenger Town. And not just any challenger, a stock challenger, which is interesting. What is interesting? Well, let me elaborate. There's a lot that we can look into here, because let me tell you, the Challenger's a weird tank. I mean, we got the stock tank here. It's fucking tall as a skyscraper, right? Oddly enough, the stock turret, front on, is thicker than the top turret. Right, you've got about 100mm of front armor. Let's go to the armor profile here just so we can get some perspective. So this is the stock turret. We can see frontally it's got 100mm of armor, 101.6. Now, it's not breaking any records, right? You're not going to be bouncing much at tier 7, but given a severe angle, you know, it might provoke a bounce or two, maybe. What's odd is that if you upgrade the turret to the so-called Avenger, which is the top turret on this vehicle, armor goes down significantly. We're now looking at only 50. And you might be looking at this saying, did that hull armor just change? No, rest assured, the hull armor is the same garbage with the stock turret or the top turret. The only reason it's changing in color is because the top turret goes up to 200mm somewhere, and the colours are scaled proportionally. Now, the 200mm is there. This is the counterweight of the Challenger. It is a hunk of 200mm of armor on the back of the tank. I once had a game where I was challenged to bounce as much damage as I could from the back of this thing, so I did this around the corner. And instead of shooting at my side, an OI with AP decided to bounce 20,000 damage off of this. It was very, very funny. It is in the video in my YouTube channel somewhere. If someone knows what video that is, please do link it in the comments so that other people can go and have a laugh. It's good fun, and I encourage everyone else to pick up the Challenger Challenge if you want to have fun and see how much damage you can bounce off the back of the turret of the Challenger. In this case, though, that would be a very ill-fated quest, as it is stock. Likewise, the gun is not fully upgraded. We've got 76mm gun here with 171mm of base pen and 239 with APCR, a fair stock of each ammo choice out of the 60 potential shells to be guaranteed. Now, we're probably going to want to be scoped in or looking towards the mid. Are we seeing a few blind fires? We are. That's stewarded. There is a platoon of SFACs on the enemy team, very lightly armored long distance TDs. You're likely to be connecting a few shells there. If not to them, then perhaps to the E25 or T25-2. So I'd say this is a worthwhile use of your time right now, because you do not want to be YOLOing into the town completely alone. But SFACs spotted on the other side of the map, both of them. Does that mean we now want to start conserving our ammo, because the likelihood that we will hit people has just gone down significantly? Oh, my mouth has been entered. Oh no. Okay, let's keep looking, right? What's spotted, what's not? What are we missing on the enemy team that is likely to infest the town? Any tier 8s? Not really. KPZ, not so much. STA1, not so much. Both the TDs are spotted. TS5, Contradictorious, VK, all of these tanks that are scary in a town environment have gone elsewhere. At this point, based on the absence of enemy threat in the town, I would be coming forward, trying to support my allies in the town. And one thing that's interesting to note, given that we're playing a stock challenger and considering taking it into a town environment, is the differences, once again, between the stock and upgraded turret, because those differences do include a very relevant factor, and that is 360 degrees of traverse. If you'll notice down the bottom left here, if I switch to the top turret, then all of a sudden we do not have the ability to aim backwards over the tank, which obviously in a town engagement, when you are wanting to poke around corners, right, and then fall back, is very, very relevant, because you can't do this with the top turret. So, taking into account that, you might feel moderately comfortable going into the town to assist your heavies, because what do we know? We know we've got 1 tier 8 heavy, 1 tier 7 heavy. What can the enemy have? They can't have a tier 8 heavy in there. It's impossible. Thus, we have advantage. So we should be moving over there, and the fact that we're not right now is alarming. Okay, we're aiming to hit this KV-3. I like moving to the left a little there, perhaps saw the T-25-2 on the map and decided it was a more favourable target to shoot at than the KV-3. That's what my commentary has come down to. Just in the middle of the guess the WN8 video, I run out of things to say, just start humming. Don't worry about it. Subscribe for more content. Okay, KPZ gallivanting all the way out there. We are utilizing a lot of these shells at this point. The stagnancy is indicative of a beginner. Someone who is very inexperienced at TD gameplay. Are we gonna move? Are we gonna move? See, the thing is, I would want us to have moved. Gone up into the town, gone with our team, prevented angles, just supported the heavy tank push, because I would have noticed that we had advantage based on where the enemy team is. At this point, you want to consider the mechanics of Lakeville, and the mechanics of Lakeville can be boiled down to this. If you go 1-2 line, you suck. That's basically how this map works. So, do we want to consider automatic win con for Valley? Automatic win con for Valley is you win the town, you put 1 tank there, maybe a tank behind the house, and you automatically defend base with basically 3 tanks and the very fact that you won the town. You can have an E25 here to defend this square being overpushed if you want, but you don't really need to. No matter how many enemy tanks attack down the 1-2 line, they are not winning base with these positions occupied. So winning 1-2 line is basically pointless for either team, because that can work from either team. So, do we want to consider occupying one of those said positions and anticipating an enemy push into base? Debatably, at this point, I would be turning left and positioning like up here and looking toward base, because I don't know, maybe it would be a mistake, but I know Lakeville so much that I know if we lose the 1-2 line, that's where I'm going to want to be. So maybe I'll be getting ahead of myself. Again, a lot of blind fires here, really ineffectual. If they were perched up there, then the defender would know about it. So blind firing here is really pointless. Okay, now we are moving. And oddly enough, of the times in the last sort of 3.5 minutes that we should have been moving, this is probably the most inconvenient time, or the most incorrect time to be moving up, because we have just lost one of our tanks in the 1-2 line, which increases the likelihood that we will have egress down this 1-2 line, at which point we want to be in this position, ideally loaded with premium with that 239 pen, and shooting it in at distance as they're spotted by this tank on this corner. right? It's essentially, is it multi-level engage? It's more of a crossfire threatening a multi-level engage. No, it's only a multi-level engage if you have a tank behind this position only, otherwise it's kind of a really wide crossfire. I guess technically is a multi, you don't care. Okay, alright. But you get what I mean, right? At the exact moment that the 1-2 line became weaker, now you move? It's like the worst possible time to do it. Okay. Fall back. Don't go. Just. Don't move to cover his flank. His flank is worth less than a toenail on a door frame. Oh no. We do not care. Why do we care if the 50 TP dies? It's like defending someone who fought for the rights of a bin lid. Like, no one cares. The only benefit is that maybe they'll bleed out their aggression, right? They'll be so beaten up by the time they deal with this guy that they won't push base. And to come to the defense of a rather lackluster play, we are going to pick up the kill here for all knights. It does mean that, hypothetically, were this Contradictorious in a position where he can't push, which, to be clear, he can, he will, and he will most likely kick your ass. If he was, say, at half health, being here would stop him from networking with his team because he can't drive up this area and get back to his team. That would be the only justification for being here. Because the literal only thing you need to do, you two, to defend against, even if you doubled the amount of enemy tanks that were here, the only thing you need to do to defend is put SFAC here, you back here. Probably you here, SFAC back there is better, but bring the ISU up as well, put that there, and you win. Like, you need to invest nothing here. So, at this point, losing any more health to this engagement is silly, really. Interesting move by the SFAC. Again, we're fighting for land that does not gain anything. That's the issue. Like, you're not just fighting. In WoT of Tanks, you are never just fighting for hit points. You're not just fighting for the damage that you can get, you're fighting for the ground upon which you sit. And what value that ground provides to you in relevance to winning the game. And of all the land, in all the realms of WoT of Tanks, the 1-2 line on Lakeville offers perhaps the least tactical precedence. The least possibility of future success. 239 going from the lower plate of that guy there. Nice tracking shot. He's prioritizing the SFAC. Probably pertinent play by him. But he's taking a lot of damage for it. Okay, can we leave now? What's he gonna do? Is he gonna solo cap the base? Is he gonna solo cap the base? I don't think he is. You can just sit at distance or just wait in mid. If he comes up, like, just why are we engaging a heavy tank close? He wins nothing. I am a very defensive player, primarily because of my dystonia. I have a muscle condition that makes it difficult for me to move my mouth smoothly, simply said. Thus, I've cultivated a playstyle that relies on using the map, using tactics, using things that are not just shooting my enemy. Right? A lot of people are the opposite. I think Wiggy Baby's a good example of that, of a player who is much more aggressive with the strategies that he implements. I'm sort of the other side of the coin, if you like. So, at this point, how do you beat this Contradictorious? Well, you don't engage him. All you need to do is just go up the mid. Why would that work? Well, because if he caps, then you can wait. You can just come back up. You know he's in the cap circle, so you can stroll all the way up there, and you can wait, let your team work. You know, they know that there's a half-health Contradictorious sat in the base, essentially doing nothing, because you can just pop out with a HE shell when there's 10 seconds left on the cap and when you set him. Like, you waste, as a tier 7 TD, essentially 2 minutes of an enemy tier 8 heavy tank's time while your team can work and your team are active and your team are engaging. You waste his time and they can't win by doing it because you have HE shells waiting. Right? If he does choose to push, and he pushes up mid, he gets caught here, he gets stuck because of crossfire here, and he can't push and he dies. Alright, so there's no reason right now not to push up mid and when you network with your team. It gives the Contradictorious no recourse. If he caps, he loses. If he pushes, he loses. So there is no reason not to push up mid right now. Which it does appear that we are doing wonderful stuff. Okay, good. Now, wide is interesting. It is viable for the same reasons. You likely have better view range than the Contradictorious. What you can do right now, given the aggression of your team, is I would say affording a huge amount of distance from the enemy right now, even though you do have a top speed of 52, is no longer merited based on the fact that 2 enemy tanks just died and your team are pushing in. You want to stay closer to the combat if possible, so going to these houses, poaching up in this bush, is merited right now. Finding out if the Contra is pushing, and if not, if you wait around here for 20 seconds and you don't see him, then you can assume that he's going back to network with his team, in which case you can push out to these areas right here, give another check, and try and get some shots into his ass if possible. So let's not go all the way out. Oh, and we do get the spot. Okay. Alright, reverse. There was a house you could use for cover. Interesting. Okay, lovely. And we want the proxy. We want to get as close to this house as possible. But what do we also want? We don't know which side this Contra is going to approach. He could come blazing out here, he could come blazing out here. So we want to prepare for both eventualities. We want to get as close to this house as we can, but we want to be facing forward. Close to the house as possible allows you to spot him as early as possible because of the 50-meter proxy. Facing the house means that we are closer to a right turn and we are closer to the left turn, right? No matter which eventuality, we are equally prepared to respond to it. Because if we commit to facing our tank this way and he comes this way, we are not going to be able to turn or reverse around the other side and kite him around this house, which is what we want to do because we outnumber the enemy and these guys are going to win this engagement. We want to endure this engagement as long as possible. So, approach the house, face it, try and get the proxy, try and get the information, and then kite this bitch for as long as is needed. This is incorrect play. If he commits around this side right now, he gets the kill. And he can win this game. You need to be prepared for any eventuality. You need to be prepared for him to come around this side, and you need to be prepared for him to come around this side. He's out of the cap, so he is coming down the one way. Okay. Gamble paid off. Interesting. Interesting indeed. I still think hugging the wall, facing it, would have been the correct play there because you spot him just 2 meters or so earlier. This is good kiting, 52 top speed. Oh, and that is some cheek. I love it. I love it. It does look like our team are capping again. You've got to face the building. In these engagements, when they stagnate like this, you face the building. You don't know which way this guy is going to decide to go, and you can very easily get caught out. Face in the direction that allows you to be flexible based on whichever situation becomes presented to you. You don't want to be in a situation where he forces you to reverse around the building, which is what I thought he was going to do there. Again, we're so committed. We're so committed to one direction. If this guy had come around this way, you would be dead. Because you can't, I don't know, maybe you get away with reversing and going this way, but... Oh, it's going to be close. The concept is good. This is exactly what you want to do. You want to kite in and just let your team conclude this game. So it's solid conceptually, but the practice of kiting this man, again, why are we turning all the way? We don't know which side he's coming. Why are we gambling? We have the ability to be prepared and respond to either one, but we have to be in the middle. Face the obstruction, get close to it, and then respond. And now we can trade a bit of damage if we like, give him the kill. So in endgame situations like that, you should always trade the damage. Maybe he's on a mission, maybe he'll miss, fuck it up, it'll be funny and you get some more damage. At this point, when the game's won, you might as well go for trading more damage. Interesting. There was a lot of mediocre play. It feels very, very average, if not below average. I would be very surprised if this was above sort of 51%. That would be the highest I'd go based on the positioning, certainly at the start. There's no hunger for damage that's merited by game state. There is tactical precedence that I would say would be... the lack of it would be alarming rather than the presence of it being impressive. If that makes sense. So I would expect someone in this position to know, if they understand even the basic mechanics of the game, to kite this guy, to delay that guy. It's not a particularly impressive thing to do, although it was the right thing to do. The practice, or the way in which it was done, the method, left a lot to be exploited by the enemy team. It left a lot up to chance. It was far from optimal. Again, positioning, I consider going to the 1-2 line in defense in the manner that he did to be a rather large overcommitment, because it's simply not necessary. The 1-2 line affords no future for even the most basic of defensive strategies deployed against it. So, what am I thinking? My estimate is going to be 48.44. Although that may be a little mean. Let's go a tad higher. 48.76. 48.76, and for WN8, I forgot, it's been so long since I've recorded an episode, I forgot the WN8 scale. Let's go 953, shall we? Tempted to go closer to 1,000, but we'll go with that. Let's see. Okay, very, very close. Not a bad estimate by myself at all. That's basically your average player. First 6,000 battles. That is the kind of gameplay that you would expect. On track, you certainly have a lot of potential. Kiting at the end, a lot of people would have fucked that up. I mean, in fairness, you did fuck it up. You just got lucky for the most part. But it's good principle, alright? Kiting, delaying, showed an awareness of how to win the game, even if it wasn't done perfectly. So... good stuff. Thank you very much, Tamita, for submitting. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out more about how to submit, as well as a paid replay, you can look in the description and you can pay £10 with your submission to have it guaranteed to be used if you are interested. On the outro screen will be the playlist, and in the description you can find links to the next and previous episodes. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
His WoT skills are legendary, brutal stuff, like he does a thing and screws it up. But the world of tanks is kindergarten, childish software, real men play armored warfare, PvE. And his business model, is actually insane. Making money off of subs but doesn't have to play a game. Also his leadership skills are dope as fuck. He says YOLO up for